When we change our mindsets, we can change our outcomes. Save our lives from sadness, depression, and anxiety, thus giving us the freedom to live the life we want. Hi, I'm Stuart Haskin, founder of getsafe, and your host of the Movement for Change podcast. Hi, it's Stuart Haskin, your host for the podcast Movement for Change. We're going to talk about problems with the in-laws. No, I'm not hiding in the kitchen, but just keep your voice down. Let's see what Jack has to say. Maybe he'll give us some tools to work with our in-laws. See you soon. All right, I'm back with Jack, my favorite family therapist.
Hi, Stuart.
We've been going down a lot of lines. How you doing? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yeah. We were just talking briefly earlier before we started, and I think I really like the topic. It's what to do with extended family relationships, meaning you're not just dating, long-term dating. You're not just long-term dating or marrying just the person, but you're kind of marrying into a family that can be difficult or great,
right,
or strong or opinionated. So I'm very curious about how you approach that in like a therapeutic environment.
Yeah, that's such a great question. And as we touched on that, I realized that many couples who come for couples therapy, a lot of times they start with the difficulties with in-laws. And many times they feel that their relationship is derailed in some way by people who raise their spouse or raise their partner. Yeah. And they don't know how to navigate it because the person coming into the family has two tasks. One task is to attend to their partner and to make sure their relationship is strong. Another task to fit into the family dynamics that they're not familiar with. Simple things like some families like to criticize each other, not from a bad place, but it's normal to find the faults and find things that don't work and talk about things that they can do better. Other families are more quiet. So when both partners engage in a family which is different from their family of origin, the conflict it will arise. There's no way around it. And most couples don't know how to manage it. They struggle, they shut down, they stop talking, and they ask their partner to leave the town or to go to a different city within the state or different state, just so that they don't get exposed to the difficulty in the relationship. And unfortunately, the family who is inviting a new person into their world usually not as sensitive to their struggles because they don't know any other way. And they care about their son or daughter, and anything that looks like that may be hurting their son or daughter in some way, emotional way, seems to them as a danger.
So you're not just talking about in-laws now, which is good because I was going to bring it up. But you're talking about going into a relationship with a person who has a couple kids, possibly older kids, and which just literally had a conversation last week with a friend, and the older kids didn't want him to come on Christmas Eve. And he was but he can go Christmas Day. And he goes, forget it. I'm not going to go. Why would I go? So we talked about it and said, listen, it's a twice a year kind of thing, and until everything adjusts, maybe just go with that and take the higher road, or because I could see where his feelings were hurt that they don't want him here, but it's okay for him to come here. So that's a big thing, which can create a really volatile thing. Because I know for me, I have kids, and sometimes I think I've seen couples where the daughter doesn't like the new partner, and I don't know what to do here. But then the partner doesn't like the daughter, and is not allowed to have her come over. And it's like, I could never stand for that. You imagine,
right.
You get a new
it's
relationship.
It's kind of a stuck place, right?
Yeah.
Both of them get this stuck place. They can't move away from that place. And, in families, a lot of times when we grow up in the family, we have rituals within the family. We're used to those rituals. We know who attends those rituals. And those rituals are birthdays, holidays, the New Year, maybe Christmas, maybe 4th of July. Everybody protects their territory. Let's say we do New Year every time at my mom's house, or we do Christmas at our other in-laws. And then when another family merges in, there becomes a conflict because there's a ritual disruption. and people reject other people interrupting their known rituals, something they remember from their childhood. And a lot of time in this case is the goal is not to walk away from the conversation or accept that something is different and battle inside, but to have a conversation, a safe conversation with other people, and share with them what's important to you and how much you respect what's important to them, and how we can find a way that all of us can feel safe in a relationship.
Yeah, how do you balance it?
Yeah.
How do you create that balance? Because I had a relationship years and years ago, and the partner at the time, holidays were a time to travel, and I go, oh boy, so let's go away for 2 weeks. It's like, oh boy, and then my mom's passed now, but at the time it was many years ago. She didn't understand. She goes, this might be my last Christmas, which there was like 10 more later.
Right.
But, so I was kind of stuck in this place, but I ended up going, and it was great, but I did, miss the family, and because there is that ritual. And I know the family was like, where are you going? And so there wasn't a lot of understanding on that front.
Right. And then that for you, that example, which is a great example, a lot of people go through this, is there's allegiances, right? There's allegiance to a new partner, and you want to be close to the partner. You care about them. You want them to feel safe with you, and you want to do something that will make them feel safe. And there's also allegiance to your family, and you have these longings and desires to continue the traditions of the family and be there on the holidays and be there when everybody gets together, let's say on your dad's birthday. And when they clash, normally for couples, it seems like there's no resolution. One partner has to give up, or one partner needs to succumb to that condition and say that, okay, we'll go this way. And these are times when we need to lean to each other for help and share with each other what it means for you this holiday, what it means for you to be next to your parents, or what it means to your partner to travel and be out of the place. And many times this conversation doesn't happen. So the only argument that starts is, I want to stay home, I want to go someplace, I want to do this, why you don't understand me, you don't know how important it is to me. And that creates a conflict. And when we agree to something that we feel uncomfortable with, eventually we'll have resentment over this. And that resentment will interfere with your personal relationship. So we don't want to not attend to the stress around the traditions or around the rituals that are important to each partner.
Yeah, it was funny. Again, yesterday I had a conversation with a friend who's a pleaser, and he started going down that pleasing road. And I go, if you agree to this without any kind of other resolution to it, you're going to have resentment later on. As much as you're the nicest person in the world, and but so I agree. Understanding how that would be another great section on your website is how to come into a discussion like this, kind of like almost a business thing, and feel like there's a win-win. Because all right, I'm leaving, I'm going away this Christmas, but I'm going to be here for next Christmas. Or the family dynamics where that's always juggling because my wife has her parents were divorced, so there's 2 family outings, and the mom's very nice and she comes over, but it can get tricky then with my family who wants to see us as well, and so all that stuff takes like kind of a negotiation, which you're probably really good at.
And it's confusing at times because you don't know. You think that maybe your partner doesn't care about you, or that you're not important, or maybe what you're asking is not never looked at seriously. Right. So there's two level of discussions that couples always have. There's nothing, you can't get around it. One's called discussing on content level. And the content level is, when we're going to leave, when we're going to come back, where we're going to go. We're not going to stay home, or we go someplace else, or we do something else, or we buy something else. This is all content, right? And then there's a emotional discussion where how makes it you feel to do this, and what's happening with you, and what are the fears and worries and concerns, and how can I help you? Can I acknowledge and understand what's happening with you. So these are two different discussions, and two different parts of the brains are working there. The discourse in couples and the families lives in the content. Discourse always lives in the content. And when you have a content-only conversation, somebody has to lose. It's very difficult to have both people win, because the content always creates this conflict, right? On the other hand, when you talk about emotions and your experience, and you share that with your partner, and your partner accepts it unconditionally, they don't have to agree with it, but accept it, acknowledges, validates, reflects back, knows that they are right there for you, they understand your difficulties, and vice versa, then both people feel safe with each other. And when they feel safe, they can resolve any conflict on the content level. So I would say that in the family dynamics, in the relationship dynamics, emotions first, get that done, and then move into content. But if the conversation starts with the content, there's no way to resolve the difficulty.
It's funny because I have questions about kids and then the parents and cousins and uncles on each side. So I'm going to hold off on the kids because I feel like that's just a whole separate episode. So.
We see a world where change can occur, in which people, regardless of place or circumstances, can conquer their fears by unlocking the full potential of their mind and body, to transform their lives from being a victim to becoming the victor. We are GetSafe. We empower people of all ages, backgrounds, and abilities with proactive skills, knowledge, and resources to change the focus of their mind by replacing fear with hope and confidence to build safe and secure communities. We believe if we can change our mindsets, we can positively change our outcomes. We believe in change. We believe in you. My name is Stuart Haskin, founder of GetSafe. Please join GetSafe in our movement for change.
Are you searching for a safe and supportive place to strengthen your relationships and improve your mental well-being? Well, look no further than Couples TLC Counseling, your trusted community mental health clinic right here in Fullerton, California. At Couples TLC Counseling, we believe that every individual, couple, and family deserves access to quality mental health services. As a nonprofit clinic, we are committed to providing affordable and compassionate care to our community. With our team of dedicated associate therapists, we offer a wide range of services, both online and in person. Whether you're facing challenges as an individual, struggling within your partnership, or navigating complex family dynamics, we're here to help. Our clinic has 7 therapy rooms, each designed to create a warm and welcoming environment for healing and growth. Our experienced associate therapists will work closely with you to identify your unique needs and tailor a treatment plan that best suits you and your loved ones. Couples TLC Counseling also offers support groups specialized for those who identify as male, female, or non-binary, providing a safe space to connect, share, and grow. Additionally, our parenting classes and specialty workshops empower you with practical tools to navigate the challenges of parenthood and enhance family relationships. Don't wait any longer to prioritize your mental health and relationships. Take the first step toward a brighter future by contacting Couples TLC Counseling today. Visit our website at couplestlc.org. That's couplestlc.org to learn more about our services and schedule your appointment. Couples TLC Counseling, where healing and connection thrive. Couples TLC Counseling does not provide emergency services. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, please contact emergency services or go to the nearest emergency room.
But, okay, so you're going into this relationship, you're getting married, you're excited. Maybe it's later in life, it's your second marriage or something. And then you have this other strong family and this other family that is maybe not as strong. But, because I see it a lot. I see parents go, they got to be here. This is how it goes. We've been doing this way. they gotta, they have to do what we say because we're the parents of, I don't know, you're the daughter or the husband. I mean, either way, I've seen on both sides.
Yeah.
How do you work with that? And then there's also the different religions that come into play. So we don't celebrate Christmas. We celebrate Hanukkah. Or we don't celebrate anything, which makes it easier, I guess. But so there's so many dynamics that happen that you got to balance as a new couple. Or
Right. And remember that all of these things that you mentioned, which is important, they're all content issues. The religion, the family, the meeting, it's got to be here, who does what. A lot of this is a surface content issues. If we get stuck on the surface, we will fight. There's no way around it. What's below the surface, normally there's 4 emotions that are below the surface that we don't see right away. And that sadness, shame, surprise, and fear. Sadness, shame, surprise, and fear, right? The fear drives a lot of times interaction. For example, mom may be scared that the wife will take her son out of the city or to a different state and she won't be able to see them all the time. Or a father worries that their daughter is taken advantage of, or they're worried that the family will, his son or his daughter or both of them will financially depend on them for the rest of their relationship. There's many levels of this worry, but the way worry shows up is a lot of times in the content discussion. I don't like you to do this. You're not doing this right. You have to go to school. Why are you not studying? Why are you playing games too much? There's so many things that come up. But if you go to emotional level and spend time understanding worries and concerns that people have or family has, it's much easier to adjust to their way of life, and it's easier for them to adjust to your way of life. And a simple example would be if mother-in-law says, I don't like when you do this and this, and that this is your life. You have to have a courage to be able to have this conversation. And the courage is to say that, mom, or whatever name you use, mom, I know that this is very comfortable for you. But even though this is a difficult conversation and it's comfortable for you, I still care about you. You're important to me. You're part of our family, and you're part of my children's family and my husband's family. So I want to make sure that I reassure you that I care about your son. He's important to me. I want to make sure that he's safe too. To have the conversation where content becomes a secondary.
Yeah, let me make sure I'm clear. Is it the daughter speaking to her mom or the daughter speaking to the mother-in-law?
Yeah, either way, daughter or son. If there's a distress, we need to lean on the struggling that the parents-in-law or parents have in a moment, or your struggle, or your partner's struggle. So if my wife has difficulty talking to my mom-in-law, for example, or to my mom, then she needs to have a courage to say that even though it's difficult for us, I still care about you. Still important to me. You see, adding the suffix to the sentences when you discuss conversations with people in the family help them to feel safe, that there's no back thoughts, that even though we may be in disagreement, there's still care for you. I still don't want to walk away.
Yeah, you know what? And I think and I'm going to spread some of this knowledge later to someone, but I think it's really, really good because we don't have those difficult conversations, even though some people say, I'm terrified of my mother-in-law, I'm terrified of my father-in-law. But sitting down in a conversation, life's tough. You got to do some things that are out of your comfort zone. But I like that because I don't think many people do that. They just go, why can't we have Christmas? Why does it always have to be here? Why is it, why do we have to go here on the 4th of July? We just want to stay home and relax. But
right. Especially when a parent starts having conversation with their son or daughter, excluding their partner. Right. And then that person becomes stuck between their partner and their parents. That's really tough. And that's why there are therapists that are working with families. I mean, they're focusing on families because we know that getting into a new family and becoming part of a new family is really tough. You're lucky if you have everything going perfect, but most of the time there's difficulties. And part of it is in the moment when you need to talk to parents-in-law or extended family, to have your partner by your side. You're not asking your partner to do talking for you, but to know that even though you may be arguing with one of the family members, and that behind that argument is you still care about them. You still want to be there. Now, think of it this way. Most of the people have radars or existential question that they constantly ask each other in their head to feel safe with the other person, right? It's you told me many times ago, you walk on the street, you can assess the person that's walking towards you. You want to make a decision that is it a safe person or not a safe person? Do I go on the other side? Do I run away? Well, here it's the same thing. Our body constantly doing assessments. Are we safe? In this case, are we safe emotionally? So the questions that we constantly ask is, does this person care about us? Are we important? Do we matter in their lives? If I need them, will they be there for me? Right? These are 4 questions that are existential questions for every person in the world. Whenever we interact with people who are important to us, and in-laws become very important for us because they're going to talk to our grandkids, they're going to be part of our activities. So if the question is always, yes, I care about you, you're important to me, I'm right here, you matter to me, I'm right here for you if you need me, then we feel safe. But if the question is not yes, then we feel in danger and we try to defend. And the only way we know how to defend is to argue in the content or shut down and stop talking and say, I don't want to talk to your mom. I don't want to talk to your dad. I don't want to come to your family. You go visit your parents and I'll stay home, right?
And that just makes everything, I mean, just that, again, that's what one of my friends was going to do. The zero game sum, the rewards versus, the loss is not worth it because it just creates a divide through the family when you start making those, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, instead of being kind of open to communicate, which, like I said, it's not easy. It takes a lot of bravery, I think.
I think it takes a lot of bravery and it takes a lot of courage. And if you don't practice it before you have conversation, you won't have a successful conversation. Imagine a firefighter going to fight fires and never training for it.
Exactly.
Or a policeman goes to difficult situation, never getting trained.
Or just going to a job interview. I mean, if you don't study up on it, for sure.
Right. Or a pilot taking airplane out, but doesn't study any emergency procedures. So the important part is, if you want to have a conversation, to actually rehearse it and understand your own emotions, not to try to focus on what the other person is doing and how they're hurting you and how and imagining how they think about you, but focusing on yourself and say, what is my experience? What am I scared of? And there's always 3 fears that we live in, always 3 fears. They're the same all the time. It's a fear about yourself, like I'm not good enough, I'm not successful, they don't like me, right? I'm not fitting into their family, right? So that's a fear about yourself. And there's also fear about them. They think I'm worthless. They think I married their daughter, but she deserves better. They don't like that I'm an artist and they want somebody with an engineering degree or a doctor. All of these fears, right? And there's a fear about relationship. How are we going to interact with each other? What's a long-term solution? Are they going to be coming visiting my children? Do we need to drop the children off for them to babysit them? All of these fears run around, and that prevents us from being attentive to parents, so to the other family, being engaged with them and being responsive.
I have a question that I'm sure you have to be asked. Well, what about them? What about the parents? Is anyone talking to the parents? Is anyone giving them, saying, hey, you got to step away from your kid's life a little bit and allow them to live and have some acceptance? I mean, if there's something hardwired that has happened, oh yeah, well, he did this or she did this, or he drinks too much or she drinks too much, then I get the parents have concerns. But is there any kind of little handbook that the parents can have too, to kind of how to accept someone in the family without being so...
Well, and maybe it would help quite a bit if they, as a family, they go to a person specializing in working with family conflicts. That would be great. But in the absence of this, because sometimes financially it may be hard to pay for therapy, in the absence of it, you're the role model in the relationship. We decide what we want to do. Not only it's our actions that decide what to do, with our reaction to the other people's action. right? One way is to blame the other person, and the other way is to reflect on yourself and say, what's happening with me in this moment? How do I react to this? Why am I getting so upset? Why is anger coming up? What happened with my anger? Having that self-reflection and understanding your own experience in the moment, and be able to hold your own emotions while you're tending to the family needs, and then turn to your partner to attend to your emotions. So in a way, you're shifting who needs to help you with your difficulties. One way is I get angry, so I want to talk to your parents. The other way is, yeah, I get a little frustrated and angry. I'm not sure what to do. And I want to turn to my partner and then say, that situation was a little bit difficult for me. I got worried. That we're going to be in conflict and I'm not sure what to do. I'm kind of stuck there. To be vulnerable with your partner in the difficulties you have in their family. And have the courage to share with the family without blaming them, without criticizing them, without judging them, without calling names. Just that this is what happens with me in those moments. And I want to be closer to you, that I get stuck because I'm
I think it's the united front. Not that they have to agree on everything, but I think it's, you got to make sure the couple's communicating. And if one of the spouses say, I'm going to talk to your mom and dad. Okay. What are you going to talk to them about? I guess I'm having an issue, maybe they treat me, they make me feel less than, and I want to be around them more. But if they're constantly saying, like I said, you're an artist, you're never going to make any money, and my daughter deserves better, and my son deserves better. Well, that's a difficult place to be in, especially if you're going to have kids. If you don't have kids, then, you'll have to see them on holidays. That's not a big deal. But yeah, so again, I think these podcasts are getting too short. We're at that time, but if you could kind of maybe just wrap up something, we'll just talk about in-laws now, and I'd love to go into new kids in this new relationship that are older and even younger, but maybe wrap up on a couple points for a couple that are struggling with strong in-laws and opinionated in-laws.
Right. In-laws are their own parents trying to defend them. And I would say the important part is to recognize and accept that behind all the anger, frustrations, or tough conversations, another person is struggling just like you struggle. The other person is longing for connection and wants to be closer. And the other person in the family or in-laws worry about their child getting hurt or getting difficult situations. So recognizing that they're struggling allows you to stay with them in the conversation and lean into that struggle and make it explicit. I know we're having difficulty talking about this subject. I know how sensitive it is for you, but this subject is really important to me. And even though we have difficulty in this conversation, I still care about your daughter. I care about you, and I care about your family. And I want us to be closer with each other. This type of conversation, or suffixing almost every sentence with the fact that you care about them. And they're important. Now, we need to exclude physical abuse. We need to exclude some difficult situation, family of origin abuse. But in a normal conversation, in normal situations, you should be able to reassure the other family, that you're there because you care about them, and you care about their daughter and son, and you want to find a way to be safe with each other. And at the same time, if they interfere with your relationship, that cannot be hidden. When you do this, it causes me a lot of distress, and I need your help to minimize this because I want to stay close to you.
And then maybe
the worst thing to do is ultimatums, of course. If you start putting ultimatums, that's a little bit tough.
Yeah, that's tough because then you have nowhere to go. But the other thing is that you mentioned earlier, which is true, and I'll, give you this last thing and then we'll wrap. But it's understanding the different dynamics, because I've told you before that I came from a very loud Italian family where everyone was yelling, and you go to my uncles and aunts and everyone's screaming at each other, and then someone walks in who's not used to that. They're going, oh my God, they hate me, they're yelling. No, that means they like you. They're talking to you. So right, understanding the different dynamics that will never change, because that's just who they are. And so those are the understandings. If you look and see, not take it so personally, I would think. So that's the other thing I think a partner needs to understand, that They're not going to create if they're coming from a calm zone, like I told you about my friend, parents never argued in front of them, never talked about medical illnesses, never did anything. I get a call, with a paper cut. Oh my God, you're not going to believe this. I cut my finger and, I'm everything's just thrown out there. It's all open. But that was just the other thing is understanding that.
Yeah, and a lot of families, they feel things and discuss things on the outside. The other families tend to feel and discuss things on the inside, right? So there's very difficult views. And even in the loud families, your partner needs to feel safe to come back to you and share that, we went to this meeting, we got stressed. I got stressed there. Can you give me a hug? I just want a reassurance that everything's okay, right? So for stress that you cannot control, you need to learn to turn to your partner.
All right. Well, I love it. This is a really good topic. And like I said, I really love to delve into kids too, both sides, new blended families. But thank you, Jack. Yeah, it went super fast again. So look forward to seeing you at our next session. Doing that.
You got it. Hopefully we don't do 2 sessions, but yes, I'm looking forward for next week. It's really exciting.
All right, we'll call it an episode. All right, take care, Jack. Thank you so much for everything.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to our podcast, Movement for Change. We hope that our discussion has left you with new perspectives and insights that can help you change mindsets and save lives. Please visit us at getsafeusa.com for resources, trainings, and if there's a topic you want to hear about or you have questions, please email us at info@getsafeusa.com. Together, we can make the change we want to see.